Hello my friends and welcome. This is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go straight to the front lines. Ukraine has the success by targeting the Russian air defense systems behind the front lines. For today, there was no significant movement in the Bakhmut direction. However, Russia still continued their tries in getting Khromova under their full control. Now the village is partially occupied. As for Ukrainian achievements, the Russian air defense system Tor, it's very expensive, was targeted in this area, not far away from the Solidar. So we have even the drone footage of the system being kaboomed. Yes, here we go. The image is not that good because it was filmed from the far distance. Nevertheless, there was the Russian Tor system. Russia sometimes put those on their ships. It seems like Russia sent lots of the air defense to their region because Ukraine just in last couple of weeks eliminated more than 15 of the various air defense systems. Before Tor tried to hit the drone, but unsuccessfully, you may see the trace of missiles straight into the skies. As for the ground operation, Russia is unable to achieve the new goals near to the Bakhmut. The Avdiivka direction, the heavy fight continues in Stepova and nearby. Ukraine recently got the success over here, repelling part of the Russian forces. However, Russia sent reinforcements, and this is the most hot spot from all of the front lines nowadays. No movement for today. Hopefully Ukrainian army will be able to take the ground back, eliminating few of the Russian bridgeheads which they were able to construct over here. It is already understandable that Avdiivka became the big failure for the Russian Federation attacks. They tried to encircle this town, however lost thousands of soldiers plus hundreds of vehicles. The situation in Stepova for Russia looks like that, so they tried to assault again using their BTR-82 armored vehicles. And successfully, as you may see, all of those vehicles were targeted by the Ukrainian defense. And with that resistance from the Ukrainian side, I don't see any perspective for the Russian army in their goal encircling Avdiivka. Yes, it might look threatening for the Ukrainian side seeing all of those clouds around Avdiivka, but definitely Russia is out of the tools, at least right now. But soon everything might change because we have the issues with our supplies, with our resources mostly provided by our allies. For example, our biggest supplier is the United States of America. Hopefully the political issues will be solved in that country. We're gonna get to that moment a little later. Well, I already told you about that issue very precisely, but we have some of the news about it. If we move to the south from Avdiivka, you may see some of the villages, and here is the lake line, some of the rivers, and Ukraine got the achievement over there, eliminating the Russian Solntseperg artillery system. I wonder how many of those units Russia still has, because there are dozens of videos showing the kaboom of the Solntseperg system. Let's watch one of them. So this is the area where the Solntseperg was kaboomed. As you can see, not really that far away from the front lines. I would say that the effective distance for the Solntseperg is a little bit less than 7 kilometers. It's the short-range artillery system, and that makes it quite vulnerable, but still the shells are very effective on this particular system. However, Russia is losing many of them. Here is kind of the good image, my friends. I try not to show you the full kaboom because this video could be restricted, but if I show you the screenshot, you'll see the kaboom. The Solntseperg artillery usually explodes with the most beautiful explosions because they have lots of the ammunition inside. It is very powerful, and in our case you may see the double mushroom. And here's what is left from the system. Basically nothing, maybe some of the wheels and caterpillars, that's it. I was in Kiev once, then there was the parade of the destroyed Russian vehicles, and there was the Solntseperg system. I would say it's very uncomfortable inside. Plus, as I told you, it is so vulnerable because it's very close to the front lines. So I don't know what keeps the crew of those systems to be motivated to continue to serve and just to lose their lives in those accident. My friends, there are some of the videos that, as I said to you, I'm unable to show you on this platform, but I constantly update the information on my Telegram channel. So if you go to the video description just below or scan the QR code available on the screen, you may have the access to my Telegram group. There are more than 220,000 followers already. I really enjoy our community on Telegram, so follow me over there. In this area on the south in Donetsk and Zaporizhia Oblast, nothing really special is happening. The last advancement of the Ukrainian army in Avdiivka direction happened probably 1 week ago. None of the sides is using the initiative on the front lines, and yesterday we just have the confirmation from our new defense minister that Ukrainian army is located between the 2nd and the 3rd Russian defense lines. Definitely it is like that, but to reach the 3rd Russian defense line, we need to cover lots of the kilometers, almost the same distance as was passed by our soldiers this summer and autumn. Let's go to Kherson direction. The situation for our forces is stable, but it isn't good because Russia continued to use the aviation gliding bombs on our positions. The Russian-made gliding bombs are not that precise compared to the American JDAMs, however they used them massively. There was the day that they used 100 of those bombs. It's terrible because the aviation bombs are the most destructive tool, incomparable to artillery shells. So our guys landed all across this shore and continue to keep the positions, also in Krinky. And just for you to realize the scale of how Russia uses their aviation bombs plus artillery near to Krinky, you may see this is total madness. The Krinky village is already gone, all of the buildings were demolished, and our guys went into this forest for the assault. My personal opinion that Ukraine shouldn't keep the forces there for the very long time. Our military command needs to decide whether to continue the operation forward or to retreat from those positions, because our guys have losses because of the Russian attacks. For what? Russia shares the images of their Mi-17 helicopter that was damaged with the help of the HIMARS missile. The HIMARS missile just exploded nearby, causing the shrapnel just to penetrate the part of the helicopter. You may see many of the hulls. Honestly expected more devastations down to this helicopter, but nevertheless I believe that it is unable to perform its duties again without the maintenance actions conducted. And we just see the part of the helicopter. I would like to research more, but we are in lack of the images. Alright, we have this image of the Russian tank. It seems like Russia is testing the new armor of their vehicles. So you may see the units of the armor all around the tank. It's the new Russian development. Well, actually, it's the standard Russian army that has been used for years. Ukraine published the images of the secret hangar somewhere in Ukraine with lots of the Magura drone boats. We have many of them, so probably Ukraine showed them before conducting some sort of the assault on the Russian infrastructure. Hopefully, finally, Ukraine will get rid of the Kerch supply connection, but unfortunately we're out of the robust tools to deal with that. We need more ATACMS, not with the cluster shells, but with a long-range type and the standard shell. Alright, about the Ukrainian military support from the United States of America, the story continues. John Kirby says that because of the political crisis, there is uncertainty, and he is not sure whether the United States are capable to continue the supplies of the military units to Ukraine in the future, because definitely the political crisis is very deep. Joe Biden says that it is the total blackmail from the part of the Republicans. At the same time, we have received the news that probably there will be some deal between Republicans and Democrats. After all, there is the light at the end of the tunnel. It seems like the White House administration plus Democrats are ready to negotiate and follow some of the propositions from the Republican Party. The big issue here that the window to take the proper decision is very small, because soon Senate will go on a Christmas vacation. If we check out the military support that Ukraine currently has, it dropped to the lowest point since the beginning of the full-scale war with Russia, but I'm sure that it will be fixed. It looks like the Russian aviation is in a deep crisis. This is the Russian-made Tupolev Tu-04, the commercial airplane that caught fire mid-air. It was on its way to China, then pilots declared emergency situation and landed safely the airplane. However, the airplane sustained damages, well, at least one of the engines. If you check the airplane later on, you may see that the fire was extinguished with the help of the fire extinguishing system installed on every airplane. I mean big commercial airplanes for sure. The design of the Tupolev Tu-04 is very similar to the Boeing 757. If you put them very close, you'll see almost no difference in general construction of the airplanes. It is understandable what airplane Russia used for their inspiration, but here we're not gonna talk about the aircraft design or this particular case. We're speaking about a trend in Russian aviation. For the last couple of weeks, Russia had at least 10 of the serious incidents in their skies and also accidents. They didn't lead to the human life loss, but at some point it could appear. You probably understand why is it happening, because of the Western sanctions. Still, Russia has some of the supplies of the spare parts, but they cannot supply everything they want and everything that they're in need. And Russia has the big commercial fleet. The airplanes are used to connect the Russia. Russia is the very big country, but with very poor infrastructure if we speak about the roads and the railroads. There are just a couple of them which go across Siberia, so aviation transport is very popular inside the Russian Federation. But the airlines now are forced to cancel many of the flights. The idea of the Western sanctions on Russia is to disturb the internal connection. Also, Russia uses the commercial airplanes to transport the military cargo for their military bases, because if you didn't know, 80% of all of the cargo is being transported by the commercial passenger airplanes. I mean aviation cargo, the rest goes for the specific cargo airlines. So losing the aviation market for Russia is close to catastrophe, because people will communicate less and less between each other, because with the road transport or trains you cannot put the country together. So aviation plays a great role in the modern day Russia as we know it. While I was recording this video, there is the other case appeared in internet. One more Russian airline has some issues with their airplanes. It is S7, and they, as far as I know, fly the Boeing 737s. Reportedly, after takeoff, the fire came from both of the engines, and airplane again miraculously landed successfully. The video was filmed by one of the passengers on board. Well, definitely it's very serious for Russia. They ground many of the airplanes because of the lack in the spare parts, and it is one more reason for Russian airlines to cancel many of the flights. Losing aviation puts Russia one step closer to disintegration. For Ukraine, aviation is also very important, but we are much smaller compared to the Russian Federation. Also, we have roads and we have railways, many of them. That is why it's not very critical for Ukraine to lose aviation, but we are unable to fly since Russia launches missiles into Ukrainian airspace. By the way, explosions were reported in Ukraine. In Kiev Oblast, the air defense was in operation. Hopefully there were no any ground explosions. Also, Kharkiv was attacked, and the air sirens are over the most part of the Ukrainian territory. But this night Russia also suffered a little. The gas pipeline in Crimea in Kerch was damaged and the fire erupted. Now Russia tries to handle it. My friends, don't forget to press the like to this video, it helps me a lot. Also, if you want to support my job, there will be some of the links in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and also the sponsors of my YouTube channel. Guys, you are awesome. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.